Hey, this is Royce Hall, your host of the Wealth Science Podcast. I'm joined by Alan Kopelman today. Thanks for being on the show today, buddy.
Oh, thank you. A pleasure.
Yeah, and Alan, you're the CEO of Nationwide Payment Systems, and you're also a co-host of a different podcast. Tell me about that one.
So
What are you
the
doing?
podcast is B2B Vault, the payment technology podcast, and we providing educational information for merchants about merchant services, fintech, technology that businesses need today, alternative payments, decentralized finance, crypto, all sorts of things that businesses need to learn about. And my company, Nationwide Payment Systems, is the host, and I have like my assistant who works for me. He's like the announcer / co-host. So when we're discussing things, he's a former business owner, so we look at things from a unique perspective, the merchant service side and then from the business owner side. So we're giving people a unique look at payments from both sides of the coin, from the user side. And even myself, I used to own a restaurant and a catering company, so I used merchant services before I got into the business. So we give a unique perspective on payments.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, one thing that kind of sticks out to me, obviously you're doing a podcast and just, talking to you about your business. You've got a lot of passion around the industry. Like, where does that come from? Like, why the payments industry for you?
I got into the payments industry kind of by accident. And then I decided, you know what, a guy gave me a magazine. This person's still a good friend of mine, Riyadh, and he gave me my first copy of the Green Sheet. And so he gave me 2 copies. He said, listen, you look like a smart guy. He goes, read these 2 magazines and then let's talk. So I said, yeah, I looked at the magazines. I saw the ads. I found, and then I did some research and I found out, hey, I could start my own payments company. And, I look at it this way. I'm helping business owners with their business. We try to, we started the company to kind of be like concierge, like, so you have somebody to call. So I tell like all my clients, like, here's my cell phone number. If you need me, you can call, text, whatever you need to do to get a hold of us. And, that's how I started the business. And then the business evolved more into, in the beginning, because all we were doing was selling machines, and that then it started evolving into a lot of technology and technology in the cloud. And that's basically like where it's all going now. There goes Rock.
There he goes.
Rocky, no. Somebody's by his window and he watches.
Yeah, I understand. I've got a big old Doberman, and he's got his chair right in the window, and he'll go crazy.
Yeah, he sees somebody in my back window. No, come here, Rocky. Come here. Rocky, no, stop doing that. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll just I'll tell my team, hey, edit that little bit out,
Yeah, so
get Rocky off the recording.
Yeah, so we wanted to, we try to teach, especially now today, technology plays a big part in your business today, right? And in your business today, technology can be the equalizer. If you're a small business and you're competing against larger businesses, having the right kind of payment technology can level the field, because you're up against, big businesses. You're up against the wall, especially now we have record inflation, right? This recession, the cost of goods is higher, and technology can be the equalizer for that. And, we just recently, we're launching some new omni-channel technology that's going to really enable merchants to be able to do everything they need to do from one dashboard. And they can hook up their website, send invoices, send out payment links, have machines, have applications running in those credit card machines, all sorts of different applications. So it's a great time in our business to help merchants with their technology.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I was talking to another guy in the kind of payment space. And one of the things that actually this guy was in the insurance space. One of the things that he mentioned is speed is empathy. All right. He's in the insurance space. So it's about, how do you support somebody after they've had an accident or something, right?
Right.
But it seems like, that's kind of the same idea is, as a merchant, as a provider, it's about having a quick, seamless service,
Rocky,
right?
Rocky, stop it. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. So to kind of go back, maybe we hit that again. So
yeah, they're going to have a seamless experience with payments. Give me 1 minute. Let me do something to get him to stop barking. Listen, you got to stop barking. You can't be doing all this barking. Look, okay, that's gone. Now you can't see that guy. Hey, come over here. Let me. Come here. All right, sorry about that. These guys started like an hour and a half late today, so I figured they were going to be done before now.
Yeah,
it should have been
all
done.
Right. So one of the big changes that you're calling out is kind of the seamless interaction for merchants between all of their payment methods. That kind of omni-channel. One of the things that I like to investigate on the podcast is like, what's the future of the industry? Is that like the biggest thing going on right now? I mean, I know you threw out like a lot of catchphrases at the beginning of this call,
Right.
but like, what in your opinion is like driving the industry right now?
Right now, technology is changing. Like one of the things, like I read recently from the government, is that they're saying like innovation is outpacing regulation, and the fintech industry is the main thing behind that. And fintech. I'll give a good definition of fintech. Fintech is, basically software where money is moving. So it could be anything. It could be P2P money. Apps like Coinbase, Robinhood, things like that. And then, down to payments for merchants, all of that is basically now like the fintech industry. And it's moving, the what you can do in payments is just moving at a fast pace. And, even for business, I look at the business in like two sections. You have business to consumer and then business to business. And on the business to business side, like our biggest growth on that side is basically providing a business with a payment portal, basically a link they put on their website so they can send out an invoice and then their customer can go to that link and pay the invoice, 24 hours a day. Because business owners are busy, they're shorthanded, right? And you want to get paid. If you can only get paid when you're answering the phone, that's, you're cutting your window down. By having a payment portal, someone can pay you and, they have time on the weekend. They have time at night after they have had dinner. Oh, I got to pay that bill, right? They're going to go to that link if they know they can do it and just pay the bill. And they can pay it with a credit card or a check. So, there's just going to be, businesses have a lot of pressure. So like a small business, let's say you have a small, store, right? The big stores are already doing this omni-channel, like, oh, we'll deliver it to your house. We'll, by UPS or whatever, right? Or you can in-store pickup, right? Or you can get it curbside. How many, I always give a great example is Olive Garden does a great job with curbside pickup. I'm not a big fan of Olive Garden, but like if you go drive by an Olive Garden, you'll see outside they got numbered parking spaces. So people order food online. They send them a text or email, hey, your food is ready, pull into space 12. What kind of car do you have? Boom, they just bring out the food. I mean, that literally probably saved their business during the pandemic. That was like literally the most efficient thing that I saw. I mean, so, small businesses need to be able to do that. And a lot of small businesses don't have websites. With this omni-channel situation that we're launching off now, the merchants can get a point of sale software, put in all their items, and then they could set all of those things up. Oh, we'll deliver it, we'll ship it to you. You can pick it up in the store. You can pick it up curbside. Because now these habits that came about because of the corona pandemic, whatever we want to call it, right? Those habits have been set in place. I mean, look at company like Instacart, isn't that what it's called? The one that delivers the groceries. Their business exploded, and then tons of other companies came in behind them. Postmates delivering groceries. Now even the grocery stores are, no, order your groceries and pick it up curbside, or order your grocery, and they bring it out to your car, and they got parking spots set up outside. This is that those habits have been set in place. I mean, I know people don't even go to the grocery store anymore.
Yeah. And that is fascinating. Like, there's the tech enablement. And I remember early on in our marriage, my wife and I were like young parents, and like, we've got 2 little babies and everything. And she's like, I hate going through the grocery store. I'm just gonna, pay the money and, fill out the cart, and then we'll just drive through and get it. I'm like, is it worth it? I don't know. But she's been doing it for years, even before the pandemic. And now it's just like, that technology was already there.
Right.
But, it's the outside force that, kind of pushed the entire country to adopting a new technology. And now you can do that at Chick-fil-A. You can do that at Olive Garden. You can do that everywhere. The technology already existed, but the adoption, went way up. And now that we're kind of, yeah.
Stop it. Sorry.
Yeah. So now that we're kind of, now that we're kind of post-pandemic, it's not going away. Like, people have, seen the convenience of it. And I know that, all the parking spaces that were marked for pickup at like our local Chick-fil-A, we go there a lot. It's really close.
Yeah.
A year and a half ago, they're still marked the same.
Oh yeah,
we just park in there and just take them up because there's nowhere else to park.
Yeah, like Wendy's doesn't even let people inside most of their stores now, and you can order online, and then when you pull up in the parking lot, you just hit the button, they run out and give it to you in your car. So
yeah.
But you know what they say, like when you want to do a habit, like you want to lose, I lost 50 pounds. So when you want to,
oh, awesome. Congrats.
Yeah. Like a few years ago, and I've kept it off. So when you want to do something, they usually say like, 8 to 10 times, right? If you do that, and the same thing with advertising, if you advertise 8 to 10 times, then the message starts to resonate, right? In somewhere between, 6 and 8 or 6 and 10, right? So now people have been doing this for a couple of years. Look at contactless payments too. We had contactless payments for years. You could wave your phone at the machine. You got the tap cards. I mean, they changed the technology on the cards from RIFD radio, because people could steal those, to the, you have to be very, very close, near field communication they use now, which is a little different. You have to pretty much be like almost on top of the machine, or pretty much touch it on many machines. And now that's just exploded. People don't want to, everything's, when we look at transactions on the back end, we see tons of tap transactions, contactless. We don't know whether they're from Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, or somebody just tapping their card, but that's just growing. It's been around, but now people don't want to do it. They just want to touch it. I was telling somebody a story the other day. I said, I ran out of the office to go run an errand, and I needed to get gas. And I was like, damn, I left my wallet at the office. I was like, I have my phone. I have Apple Pay on my phone. I went up pulled into the gas station, and I just Apple Pay. I said, I wonder if this is going to work. I had no idea. I mean, I know it worked with a credit card, just tap the machine, right? So I put my phone up, boom, guess what? Got gas.
Yep.
So it works.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like I was one of those kind of slow adopters. Like I had a card that it had the little symbol on it. You could do it, and I watched the commercials where Peyton Manning, whoever is like doing it, and it's so cool.
Right.
And like I'm like, I still thought like inserting the chip was the best thing, but now like in the pandemic era, I'm like, I don't know if I want to touch everything that everybody else has touched. And I've just been tapping, and now like anytime it's like, well, the tap wasn't received, put it in the card. I'm like, are you kidding me? Why? And it's just it's like my perspective on it has changed. I'm like, I don't want to have to insert anything to anywhere. Like I just want to swipe and go. Like
right, you don't want
it
to
easy for me.
Even if you insert it, sometimes you have to hit enter. So with the tap, it bypasses all of that. Like triggers off the whole machine. It's kind of crazy. It's crazy, but those habits got put in, right, with all these people, and small businesses need to step it up, right? Because if they don't step it up, they're not going to be, you have to be able to compete against your competitors, right? So it's important, that how can SMB, the small, medium-sized business, compete and have an affordable product. Not everybody can afford to, let's say you have 1,000 items in your store or even a few hundred. Can you afford to pay a web designer $5,000-$10,000? No, we have a product now. You can put in all your items into the point of sale, and then it creates a website for you. So
that's awesome.
So it's pretty unique,
yeah.
And you're paying like around $70 a month for that service. So that's like, a little bit expensive on the service, but you're not laying out $5-10 grand to go have somebody build out a custom website, a shopping cart, and which can take, a few months. This could be done in a matter of a couple of weeks.
I think that's one of the things that amazed me about the pandemic. What was the swiftness to deploy these solutions. I think, one thing that sticks out of my mind, this isn't exactly payments, but the thing that sticks out of my mind is the QR code, menu at a restaurant. It's like all of a sudden everybody had QR codes and nobody had menus anymore.
Well, they couldn't afford to keep reprinting the menus. That's the main thing. And what's funny is somebody called me on the phone one day and they're, oh, I know you know how to make QR codes. Could you make one for me? And I was like, dude, I'm not going to charge you money here. Go to this website. This is how you do it. Go put your menu up on a web page, and then go take that URL, stick it in this software, and get a free QR code. Because I said, I'm not going to charge you to do that.
Yeah.
Like that's just crazy, right? I'm not gonna charge you. He says, oh, there's companies charging like $300-400 to do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it's free. Like, it's literally free. Like, you don't need to do that. But, some restaurants are staying away from that. QR codes is kind of crazy because I was making apps several years ago until Apple like changed all the rules, and they didn't want like small businesses having apps in the App Store. So we were making.
You broke it, Alan. You broke it for everybody.
What?
I said you broke it for everybody.
I didn't break it. We only made 1,000 apps. I mean, the person whose software I was using, they sold it to tons of people. They were making thousands of apps a month, and Apple, whatever, started cracking down, saying that was called cloning and this and that. But we used to make QR codes for everybody, so people could just take a picture of a QR code. But back then, you had to have a QR code app on your phone. Now your camera just does the QR code.
Yeah, it's just it becomes assumed.
Right. No, I'm saying like the phone companies, Google, the Android phone and the Apple phone updated their software to the. I hope that noise is not bad. Sorry, but they updated their software, so now the phone, the camera takes the picture of the QR code, and that's been a big game changer also.
Yeah.
I think they changed that way before the pandemic.
Yeah.
But now people like, oh, QR code, they know exactly what it is. But the other thing is people have to be careful because people are also putting out QR codes that are for phishing. And I'm not talking about phishing for a fish.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the PH phishing, and people are getting their credit card stolen and stuff. So you got to be careful when you scan a QR code, like, oh, the business, what it is. You're not just scanning a random QR code that, somebody's giving you, because you could go to that's another problem that we're having today is like all the fraud going on through texting and QR codes and email and all that. Click this link, you think it's your bank, and the next thing you know, somebody's zelling money out of your bank account, and you lost $500 out of your bank account.
Yeah. So that makes me think of some other advancements, like, blockchain is so hot right now, right?
Right.
Blockchain is supposed to help out, with that sort of situation where it's all open ledger and, traceable. We've kind of talked about, okay, what's the future of the industry? What's kind of changing? Are there advancements that you've seen that have been more like hype than, legit? Are there things that you're just like, okay, this stands out as a bust to me?
Well, everybody thought the QR code was a bust. It made a big comeback. I think that it did. It made the hugest comeback ever. The QR code, that thing was essentially dead. That thing was dead before the pandemic, man. I mean, that thing was on life support. I mean, it was around, but it was on, nobody was using it for any, and all of a sudden it became like a big use item. Oh, make a payment, scan the QR code, get a menu, go to the website. Now it's everywhere. Everybody's puts QR codes on their marketing once again, 10 years later. But, I mean, let me tell you, like, government regulation right now is a huge problem. Okay. It's a huge problem. And I don't think a lot of people realize, like, the crypto market, that got destroyed because of government regulation. Right.
Hold on a second.
It got destroyed because of government regulation and the new taxes that they put on cryptocurrency. And that basically caused all the investors who were doing day trading, pushing the price up, trading all day long. I mean, there's still trading going on because it's Europe uses crypto in a lot different way than we were using in the US. People in the US were treating it more like the stock market. Doing a lot of day trading, and people were using those like fast computers. Like, listen, if you're playing with $1 million and Bitcoin goes up, $5 and you go sell it, and then Bitcoin goes down $20 and go in and buy it, and then it goes back up $50, and you're doing that all day long. There's people that were making hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. I mean, a day, literally playing with, but they were playing with big money. They weren't playing with $20, $50, $5 grand.
Right.
They're playing with hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, right? That were doing that. Those whale people, they all pulled out of crypto because the taxes that came in, killed it. Now we got some other stuff going on. We got this credit card act that Durbin is trying to pass to basically, he wants to destroy Visa and MasterCard. He acts like Visa and MasterCard is owned by Visa's owned by Mr. Visa and MasterCard's owned by Mr. MasterCard. No, these are public companies owned by everybody. You have a portfolio, you have a money market, you have a mutual fund, you have a 401k, you have an IRA, you have these EFTs in there, you have these, whatever you want to call those, S&P, funds. Everybody owns a piece of Visa and MasterCard, right? This guy's he's attacking them. He wants to have like a competitive network. And the thing about that is it's an antitrust issue because the banks want to take out Visa and MasterCard, or at least a few of them do. And that was already fought back in 2006. People don't know that because it's 2022, but there was a lawsuit, Visa versus First Data, where First Data wanted to process cards directly through their network of banks and cut out Visa. Well, that they lost, and now Durbin's trying to like revive that and like make some change without any votes, right? He wants to amend like some thing, and I hope that stops. And and then we also have another bill that's hidden inside of that rescue bill that they got going on, and that they got going on. Right, this recession reduction of the deficit. right? And they want to tax small, I don't know if you heard about it, they want to tax small businesses 3.8%, right? Any business that that makes over $200,000 a year. Okay, that's nothing. That's like 18 grand a month. That's nothing, right? That's not a lot of
Right.
money. Okay. So they want to tax 3.8%. Okay. Now, anybody that knows anything about taxes and accounting, if you've owned a business, if you have an S Corp or an LLC or a single member LLC or whatever you have, all the profits go to the owner or owners, and then you pay taxes on it. So now they essentially want to double tax your money.
Mm-hmm.
Double taxation, that's against the law. That's against the laws we have. I think it's even in the Constitution about double taxation, that there shouldn't be any double taxation. So I mean, I pray like that gets ripped out of that like bill, because that would be devastating for small businesses. 3.8%. I think I did the math on that on 200,000. That's about 9,500 in tax. And then let's say you want to go fight with the IRS. It's not worth fighting over, because you might as well just pay it. It's too small of an amount to go get an accountant and a lawyer and start, goofing around with them. You could blow $9,500 batting an eye.
Sure.
Then small businesses don't have the they don't have the extra money to go fight that. So they're just figuring they're going to roll over and play dead and just give the money over to the government. It's wrong. I mean, I posted some posts all over social media yesterday, linking back to one of the national associations that's fighting that. And I have an article coming out about it too, in the green sheet, that talks about that, and then where to go click and write your senators and Congress people and all that good stuff. Because the regulation was greatly reduced under the last administration, but now regulation is completely out of control. It's not good for small. It's not good for small businesses. I mean, thank goodness, like we're in Florida, and during the pandemic, the governor, let businesses reopen, and that was a good thing, and we probably had not as many businesses closed down here, but I mean, we do business all over the US. So we saw a lot of places, like we have companies in Vegas, California, Hawaii, New York, and we saw a lot of places go out of business.
Yeah.
In those states. So
yeah. And to kind of go full circle on the conversation there, the thing that stands out to me, like I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and we had a lot of businesses go under at that same time as well. A lot of people just you stop going downtown, like you stop going to places where people congregate. You stop going to the places where people congregate, and that kills a lot of the society. It kills a lot of the business. But at the same time, you see people that, turn to technology. They turn to that fintech to make a pivot and become more streamlined, and to make it easier to buy themselves. I think that those are that's not the only thing that was the metric of success, but in the pandemic, that helped them.
They had less employees, so you need technology to make up for that. I mean, go into McDonald's today, they have like no cashiers, hardly. They have like one cashier, and then they have I don't eat at McDonald's, but I went in because I wanted to see it. Then they'll have 3 or 4 different kiosks, and you just walk up and place your order. Same thing in Wendy's. The ones that they let you go inside, they have kiosks, and you go, you order all your food. So you're going to see, I even saw it at the airport where you wanted to order food, that kiosks near the restaurants, and you could just go order your food on the kiosk. So you're going to see more and more technology, because, they raised the minimum wage and all that, and it's causing problems. That's government regulation causing problems for businesses.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting as well. Like that's another one that stands out to me as kind of forced adoption. I remember my wife and I went to Europe many years ago, and I mean it's probably been I don't know 5 6 years, and I remember ordering stuff on the kiosk and they just bring it out to you. Like that
Right.
already existed pre-pandemic, but now with as you mentioned, like okay, the price of labor is going up and we're trying to have less people involved in things. We're still kind of I think a little touchy around being around too many people.
Yeah,
uh
that too. It's
you know
you know,
the technology that already exists is being implemented more fully and driving higher adoption.
oh yeah, definitely. Like McDonald's had those kiosks in their restaurant years ago, right? I remember
Yeah,
seeing those in there years and years ago, but they were seldom used, you know.
yeah,
Now people
now
are
it's not
like,
even an option.
right now, and also like self checkout at a lot of stores. And I've talked to a few stores that have a lot of self checkout, and they don't really monitor. I'm not going to promote shoplifting, but they're not, like Costco has like people at the door that count how many items are in your basket, but you don't see
Right.
that at Walmart, Target, the grocery store. They're just like eyeballing around at a lot of stores. And I was talking to the manager that I know at a local grocery store, and he's like, yeah, our our theft numbers are definitely up.
Yeah,
Whatever, loss prevention.
you're gonna have to like maybe put a statement out here like Alan's opinions are his own. Like, hey, I didn't say go, you can rip off Crow. I
No,
didn't
I
say
don't
it.
say that. I say I'm not promoting. I'm not promoting that. I'm just saying like what's going on.
Yeah, I get
What's
you.
going on at these stores, and it's they're weighing it out, right? Can we absorb a little loss prevention and let everybody do self checkout?
Yeah,
Because they're doing it like at the local grocer here in Publix.
yeah,
At the new stores, like they're redoing some of the stores, and then they put in a whole bunch of self checkout, and after when they go in and do a little remodel.
yeah. We're actually getting our first Publix up here,
Yeah, it's a
so
great
it's a
company.
good ways away from Florida, but yeah,
You
we're
know
getting
that
our first.
that a lot of people don't know this, but the entire company is owned by the employees.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's an
That's really cool.
employee-owned company. The family who started it, they basically made all the employees owners, and all the employees that work there get stock in the company, and the employees own the entire company.
That's awesome.
Yeah, now I mean it's completely employee-owned. Yeah, because I remember recently the guy who was the president or head of the company retired, and it was a major big deal because he was a big driving force in that.
So we're coming up kind of on time here, but let me ask you a question before we get off. Uh, One of the things that we like to ask people is, what's your superpower? I'm not talking about like, I can fly or I can, run faster than the Flash, but it can be something that a mundane thing. Like, I have coworkers that they're really good about seeing like the next steps in a process. They always seem to know what comes next. They have kind of unusual foresight, if you will. But kind of what's your superpower?
So I used to be a chef, and one of my superpowers is the ability to absorb a lot of information and store it. And then, basically, when you're a chef, you have to cook the same thing over and over and over. So you have to remember, you obviously you got to make it the same every time, or people are not going to come back. That's why people always say, oh, chain restaurant, what makes them successful? Makes it successful because if you go into a chain, you eat a burger, you have it at 5 different locations, pretty much it's going to be the same. So I've learned that, I read a lot about the industry. I stay educated. I go to a few conferences every year. There are some people that may be smarter than me in some subject areas, and I keep in touch with them, and we always discuss different things, and I, always learning and following, what's going on in Congress, following what's going on with regulation, following Visa and MasterCard. I mean, you got to spend a little time reading each day. I mean, I don't want to say like I'm the encyclopedia of payments, but a lot of people call me on the phone when they have a question. Even people that own companies, they're like, "Oh, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?" It's and I think my one big superpower that I've heard about from my podcast is how I'm able to take like a complex subject and then explain it in a way that people can understand and digest easily. Like someone walked up to me that I hadn't seen in a couple of years. They were like, "Well, I listened to your podcast about CBD. I learned so much." He goes, "I learned more on your podcast than I couldn't even imagine. I learned so much about the industry, the products, what's going on, and things like that." So I think that's my big superpower, is being able to take, like, the other day we hooked up this large heating and air conditioning company with a payment portal. So I was training the owner, who's an older guy, and his employees, right? Like 3 employees, and they're watching. We're doing they're logged into the software, and I'm telling them, go here, go there. And about the middle of it, I go, about 5 minutes in, I go, "Well, that's it." The guy goes, "That's it?" And I go, "Yeah, that's it. That's how it all works. That's how it all works." I explained, literally went through the whole thing in like about 5 or 10 minutes. He goes, "I should have done this like 2 years ago when you called me." He goes, "I thought it was going to be way more complicated." And that's what surprises people, that how simple technology has gotten, right? How simple it is to use it in your business. Basically, like we just basically showed the guy, like, here's this link, put your, we put his account number into the link, boom, he had a payment portal. All you had to do is upload his logo. They were like in shock. So, that's my superpower. I want to take a subject that can be very complex and then explain it to people in a simple way, so that they know exactly what they're doing with that software.
Well, yeah. Well, Alan, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. Thanks for sharing your passion and your knowledge of the industry, and stay in touch, man.
Yes, thank you for having me. Sorry about Rocky barking so much. But,
That's all right. We'll have him on the podcast next time.
He'll talk about his favorite snacks. His favorite snack is chicken jerky. I'll tell you all about his chicken. doesn't talk much, but we have some guys outside working, so I apologize for the extra noise in the background. They got a late start today because it was raining earlier.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll have to talk about coffee another time.
That's right. Oh, I never did ask that.
About coffee. That's another podcast. We can just talk about coffee on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to talk about coffee and what's going on in payments in the coffee industry. Kind of look at that intersection.
Listen, the coffee, a lot of people, there's a lot of companies like trying to come out with these like batch coffee recipes, with interesting marketing, like I have a guy, he's a veteran, he has like his veterans coffee.
Oh yeah.
And I told
Black Rifle and
Black Rifle and Gunpowder, and I forget the other name. This guy's working on one now, and I drink one I was telling you called Bones.
Yeah,
and which I like a lot. That's some interesting flavors. And I didn't even know they're in the other side of the state in Naples, Florida. And I have a rep that works for me in Hawaii, and he actually sent me some Kona coffee and some other special coffee that's only grown on the Hilo side of the Big Island of Hawaii. So I can't wait to get that and try it.
Yeah, I've got I do a little coffee roasting at my house, just for like myself and my family and friends. I've got a big bag of green Kona coffee that I brought in. 100% Kona, the real deal.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. I typically drink light roast because then you can get like all the floral flavors and all the really wild stuff. Or I don't know if you've ever seen any of the ones that have unique processing. Like there's some coffee that is like and some pineapple processed
Yeah.
coffee where when they're drying the coffee, they put in slices of pineapple and let them ferment together on the drying beds. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on out there.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like it's very popular to have these like small batch coffee. Like the Bones guy makes one called Cookies and Dreams. And then
Okay.
they only put, when they have it, they send you a text because they only have like a few hundred bags. So if you don't buy it, you're not getting it for another week or two. And that's how they do it, which is pretty interesting with the flavors.
Yeah. I think, the same things on the supply side, right? Of there's people who, they'll work directly with the farmer.
Right.
And it's the same sort of thing as like, okay, we bought this micro lot and the lot is, 300 pounds. So we're going to have this coffee available for probably a month and a half. So come and get it or wait another year until, the next crop comes out.
Yeah, well, I think now the supply chain is catching up, like supply chain. And also, a lot of supply chain got flipped into Florida. In fact, one company we had that was located in California moved their whole warehouse to Florida, and they had the ships that were floating out off the coast of California for like almost 2 or 3 months. They told them, go take them into the Panama Canal because they were out of inventory. They had no inventory in their warehouse. So they sold their warehouse in California, moved to Florida, and then the guy bought a warehouse and got the ships in here, and he literally saved his company because if it would have been another few weeks, he would have had like no inventory at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's let me show you something real quick. This is kind of silly, but this is our chicken. I helped my I helped my daughter's first Lego League robotics competition.
Cool.
So they're she's in like 5th grade now, and they build robots out of Legos, and like there's systems for that. And the competition this past year was on transportation because that was when all the supply chain hits were coming, with the pandemic. So all of our builds and all of our missions were around, okay, how do you transport stuff efficiently and with automation? And, obviously the holdups at the shipping docks in California, that was a huge thing. So it was like, what can be done there? How can automation and robotics, influence that? So that's what my little chicken is about. My little Lego chicken. I thought it was cool. So
now you'll have to drive your daughter down to Atlanta and take her to go see the big chicken over there.
Yeah, definitely. with this was an obstacle. You had to maneuver this big wind turbine wing around and over the chicken without disturbing it.
Okay.
So we built a launcher that just launched it horizontally into the holder.
Cool.
It was pretty neat. A little almost like a trebuchet or something.
All right.
Well, Alan, again, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining me today.
All right, thank you. And I always say at the end of my podcast, Carpe Diem from B2B Fall. All right.
All right.
Have a good one.
Yeah.